fix a camera here. Let's see. Okay, I think that'll be good. Welcome to the live tonight. We're live tonight on YouTube again. And we're continuing our series, our live series. Let me send a few notifications out. Let's see, I got one here on Facebook. One here. Let's see. Okay, starting to have a few people pop into the live. Okay, great to see you all here. Okay, so we are going to discuss tonight, which is actually a symptom of insomnia for people who not only they can get to sleep, but once they get to sleep, they're waking up throughout the night. So if you're new here, I'm Dr. Robin. I'm your sleep health coach and clinical pharmacist. I am here to help you to get the most amazing sleep. And let's see, study our camera here. Okay, so I see some people coming on new. If you are new here, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you are looking to really maximize your sleep so that you can consistently get a great night's sleep so that you can wake up feeling energized, energetic, and ready to take on your world, basically. We all have a lot of goals and things we want to accomplish, things we want to do and get done. So we are here tonight to definitely, I see some people saying hello Idris, hello, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. Definitely, Shiva, Iris, a lot of people popping on right now. Awesome. Definitely take this time to subscribe to the channel. If you or someone you know really needs to get great sleep at night, they're having issues going to sleep at night, their mind is just racing, it's not stopping, and they're having issues staying asleep tonight, which is what we're going to focus on for this live right now. Again, I'm Dr. Robin. I'm your clinical pharmacist and sleep health coach. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and we'll go ahead and get started now. So we're right on the dot, 7:30 on the dot, so we can definitely go ahead and dive in. One of the things that people don't realize, and I always have to tell people when they come to me, and so we have to really break down what is going on when they're waking up in the middle of the night. First of all, a lot of people don't know this, but it is actually completely normal to wake up throughout the night. It's a part of our natural sleep cycle. So we're cycling in, whether it's light sleep, deep sleep, the REM, we're cycling throughout these every 90 to about 110 minutes out throughout the night. And at the end of each cycle, our brain can reach a lighter stage of sleep where we may have some brief awakenings that are occurring. So that's number one, that is actually normal for you to wake up at nighttime. Most people wake up any times, I want to say anywhere from like 2 to 6 times throughout the night, based on their cycles, on the different sleep cycles. Once again, we said we're running these sleep cycles from 90 to anywhere to 110 minutes. Be sure to subscribe here if you want to learn all about your sleep, how to maximize your sleep so that you can wake up early in the morning or late in the morning, whatever it is that you need to wake up so that you can take on your day. So we're definitely looking at that tonight, specifically going over your, what's causing you to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Now, the main reason our bodies are really doing this, there's a natural temperature adjustment that our bodies do. And we actually reach slight arousal awakenings after we enter some of those deep stages of sleep. It's just naturally a part of our sleep cycle. But this is where the problem comes in. The problem comes in. Thank you all for the likes. Be sure to subscribe too if you find this information that's helping you to get good sleep. The problem comes in is when we can't get back to sleep. So awakening, we should be able to get back to sleep. A lot of the awakenings that occur, we actually don't even know about. They've actually have done like different video research to see that people wake up through the night. It's natural to wake up 2 to 6 times every night. However, it's not natural if you can't go back to sleep. So that's what we're going to talk about in this live tonight, really getting to the bottom about why you can't go back to sleep. So that's major. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you want some great sleep hacks. We're going to continue our sleep hack series here. So one of the major reasons that people have is really stress-induced insomnia, why they can't get back to sleep. So they have racing thoughts, and these racing thoughts, this stress actually spikes the cortisol level. Cortisol is our major stress hormone that alerts our body it's time to wake up, it's time to get into action. If we have these spiked cortisol levels, it's hard to get back to sleep at night. So that's one of the reasons. One of the major reasons too, I always go through a sleep apnea questionnaire with my clients to see, are they having issues with sleep apnea? If they're having sleep apnea where they're not getting the required amount of oxygen during rest at night, that could be another reason why they're waking up throughout the night and not able to get back to sleep. Also having to use the restroom, the bathroom at nighttime. Right before this call, I just had a talk actually with a family member who I was telling them what I'm going to do my live about. And they were like, you've told me to drink all this water. I've been increasing my water intake and now it's a problem. Yes, it is a problem if you're drinking it too close to bed. So if you're going to have, your daily water, have a cutoff time, at least 2 hours before you go to bed, where you're stopping a lot of the water that you're going to be drinking for the day and liquids in general. So water, tea, if you're drinking juices, having your nighttime smoothie, you can have a small amount of liquids. That is fine. If your mouth tastes a little bit dry before bed, that's fine to wet your palate. But you shouldn't be having a large amount. I'm going to show you one of my water cups that I drink throughout the day. When it's this big and you fill this all up, saying, well, I'm doing good getting my water before bed. You want to front load your water as much as possible during the beginning part of your day and early afternoon so that you have the rest of that day and evening to release that. So you're not waking up in the middle of the night having to use the bathroom. The next reason that people seem to be waking up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep is hypoglycemia. That's just a fancy word for low blood sugars. So if they hadn't eaten in a long time, they have like a just really big break. Some people I've talked to, they do a lot of fasting. They hadn't eaten since like noon and they go to bed at 10 o'clock and then they wake up at 2 and wonder why they can't get back to sleep. The blood sugar is plummeting and the body is trying to alert you like, hey, we need some substance. We need some sugar to survive here. Please definitely get a snack or something to eat. So people who are already at risk for unstable glucose levels, low blood sugar, it can cause adrenaline release. Again, this adrenaline is alerting you that something's going on that we need to pay attention to get a good night's sleep. So I tell people definitely have that, keep that cutoff time 3 hours or so before bed, so that you know, in terms of your big meal for the evening, you don't want that really big meal. So if you're going to bed at 10, your biggest meal should be no later than 7 p.m. so that your body has time to break down that food, so it's not conflicting with actually really trying to digest the food and go to sleep at the same time. It really needs one or the other. But it's a good idea if you're thinking that you are, you either have data where you're testing your blood sugars, or you have, know some people wear a machine that actually collects the data on the blood sugars. If you're seeing that your blood sugars are plummeting, having a good bedtime snack would be really, really helpful. So some of the other instances is alcohol consumption. This is another reason why people can find themselves waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. So some of the ways we've gone over already is sleep-induced, stress-induced insomnia, anxiety-induced insomnia, where they're just really high-strung, their brains are running, just so much anxiety. If there's sleep apnea, if you're not getting enough oxygen, and there's a questionnaire you can do, and they actually have at-home sleep apnea tests now. You used to, you know, back in the day, even now they do have some sleep labs where people actually have to go and sleep in a laboratory where they judge and, you know, look and determine if sleep apnea is occurring, where you're not getting enough oxygen at night. Right now, they can do this at home. So if this is something you're concerned about, I always test clients and do a questionnaire with them to see if sleep apnea is something that's occurring, as to why they're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning and can't get back to sleep. We talked about next was hypoglycemia. So that blood sugar that's plummeting and dropping could also be a reason why there's issues with not being able to go back to sleep at night. Alcohol consumption. Now, this is a major one. If you're new here, I see some new people popping on. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, Sleepwell RX, and definitely grab a notebook so that you can really solve your sleep issues naturally. So we're looking at next, we're talking about some of the top reasons that people do wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. The next one is alcohol consumption. While alcohol really will initially have that sedative effect, and I think we've all felt that, that's likely usually because of all of the grapes. So you see that in like red wines, especially because of the melatonin that's in a lot of these alcohol products. But alcohol does mess up your sleep architecture. It completely disrupts your sleep architecture. And that's the fancy word for all your different stages of sleep you go into. So your stage 1, your stage 2, your REM, your stage 4. It disrupts this architecture severely, causing you to wake up throughout the night and not be able to get back to sleep. Alcohol is actually a diuretic as well. So we talked about earlier, you know, having that nighttime, that nocturnal urination, you know, having that cutoff time. Because it is a diuretic, it will cause you to wake up throughout the night more so than if you didn't have alcohol, to actually have to eliminate that. So caffeine residue is the next one we want to talk about, to why you're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. So caffeine consumption 6 to 8 hours before bed can reduce any issues you have before sleep. I personally, if I'm going to have caffeine for the day, I have to have a cutoff time of about 10 a.m. I can have caffeine up until that time. After that, no more caffeine, because it keeps me up. If I have a noon coffee, a 2 coffee, I even have clients who, you know, they go out to dinner with friends. He's like, I always order, you know, we have after dinner coffee together. It's a part of our socialization. It's great that you're out to dinner with friends. Having a social life is so healthy and important. It's really great for your. I think I'm live. Okay, I'm back. It's always a phone call that pops in. Okay, I'm back now. You do not want to definitely, you know, have that evening coffee with friends. You want to have a cutoff time with caffeine. I tell people no later than noon should you be having that, and a lot of people, it needs to be even earlier. Some people metabolize caffeine really slowly, which means it just lingers around in the body for a long time. So caffeine's hiding in a lot of different things too. So we're looking at not just coffee, but all of our chocolates, all of those different sports drinks, some different even healthy foods that we see at the health food store have caffeine hiding in them. So definitely watch your caffeine intake if you're finding that you're doing these wakenings at 2 or 3 in the morning. Noise disturbances can be a reason why. If you live in a area where you're in the city, in the heart of the city, definitely traffic, high traffic, the neighbor's pets barking. You can have a lot of noise disturbances that could awaken you in the middle of the night, making it hard to get back to sleep. So one of the things you can try is earplugs that can really help. Doing some different soundtracks, such as sleep hypnosis tracks, some of the sleep meditation tracks, some of the classical music, different sleep music, anything that you can try. And YouTube has so many that you can experiment with on this channel. We're actually going to load some up soon within the next probably month or so. We're going to load some up ourselves to help people get the sleep that they really need and require so that you can block out that noise that's coming on in. Also, if you're having a snoring partner, that could be some of the noise too. If they're having a lot of snoring, you definitely want to encourage them to have like sleep apnea testing, to definitely look into having that done. To see if that's the reason for their snoring. There's different other things you can do too with the positioning of the snoring. People tend to snore mostly on their back, so going on their side can be helpful. If they're having congestion, nose congestion, throat congestion, any of that can actually contribute to that. But using earplugs can help block some of that out. I know this isn't probably a popular thing, but you can actually, couples can spend their great couple time together and sleep in separate rooms. If they're having issues, one person's just snoring so loud that it's causing the person to actually be exhausted and worn down the next day. So those are definitely something to keep in mind. The next reason why people are waking up at like 2 and 3 a.m. could be light exposure. So you have a neighbor who maybe works a late shift and they're coming on. If they have bright lights that are coming in your window at night. If you have, I know our family, we have teenagers now who, they have a curfew, but they're, waking us up in the evening and so forth. Sometimes those you all, before we had teenagers, we had babies waking us up in the middle of the night. So there's definitely some things you can do for your light exposure. If it's coming from the outside, definitely have your blackout shades and your blackout curtains installed. And these are something really affordable, quick fixes that you can do to take care of probably in the next few days. If you are definitely running into issues with too much light coming in that's waking you up throughout the night. That's external light. Indoor light, there's strips you can put at the bottom of your door or even on the sides as well if a lot of lighting is coming in that way. Those are some great ways that you can definitely stay ahead and prevent, people going to the bathroom at night or, the teenagers coming in, hopefully in time for their curfew, but coming in. Definitely, this is something to look into so that you can block some of that internal light. And just a quick brief, I think some people were surprised when they find out that we all naturally wake up, multiple times throughout the night. It's just something that naturally happens for all of us. It's a part of the sleep cycle. It becomes a problem when you cannot get back to sleep. Most of the time, we don't even remember them. And I think this was something that really was built into us by Mother Nature, so that we could be alert of environmental dangers. There was, years ago when we were hunter-gatherers, if there was a saber-toothed tiger nearby looking for nighttime prey, we would hear that and be alerted to that. Also, if we're, young mothers tending to babies or even old mothers like grandmas helping out with the babies, they'll be alerted and hear some of that to actually awaken. So this is something that's naturally built into all of us. It's a protective mechanism. It actually helps us to regulate our temperature throughout the night. And it's a part of our sleep cycle to wake up throughout the night, anywhere from 2 to 6 times. The problem comes in once again when we're anxious about this, we're stressed out the next day, we're exhausted the next day, and we can't seem to get back to sleep from those awakenings. So we'll keep going on our list. We're looking more and more on our list. We talked about stress-induced anxiety is one of the reasons, sleep apnea, nighttime urination, hypoglycemia, which is your blood sugar plummeting at night, alcohol consumption. I know people like their evening wine. That's fine if you have the evening wine with dinner, but as far away as possible from bedtime is important. Even though it's a sedative, it's highly, highly disruptive to your sleep architecture. Caffeine residue, depending on how fast you metabolize caffeine. I know personally, I'm a slow metabolizer of caffeine. So I can't have, if I want to have a cup of green tea, white tea, Earl Grey, even coffee, I can't have that past 10 a.m. or else it's going to mess with my sleep. A lot of people don't realize how long that caffeine lingers in their bodies. So if this is something you're dealing with where you're waking up throughout the night and you can't seem to get back to sleep, definitely cut back on the caffeine and have a bigger cutoff time. Not just a few hours before bed, but a much, much bigger cutoff time, probably no later than noon, and see how you do with that. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying these great sleep tips and sleep hacks. We're talking tonight about why you keep waking up between 2 or 3 a.m. Definitely, thank you so much for joining us. I see some new people popping on right now. Definitely give us some likes and send this out to the algorithm. Be sure to subscribe. I'm Dr. Robin, your sleep coach and clinical pharmacist, helping you to get the most amazing sleep ever naturally. And without using a lot of pharmaceuticals. I do believe the pharmaceuticals do have their place for short-term insomnia. But a lot of people who come to me are looking to really, maximize with their health without having to depend on that. Some of the pharmaceuticals do run the issue with you actually become very dependent on them. And nobody should be dependent on really anything for sleep. It's a natural birthright that we all should have and be able to get great, amazing sleep on a consistent basis. So next we talked about light exposure. Definitely, light exposure can definitely interrupt your sleep at night. So if you're waking up in the middle of the night, do your best to try not to look at your cell phone, your tablet, your laptop. And I know that can be hard. I usually have a book. In fact, I have a book as a part of my bedtime on my nightcap, because if I wake up, I like to have a book, and what happens, you'll find yourself just dozing off with the book, which is what you want. There's something about having like a book on a tablet or a cell phone that's emitting a lot of blue light to you, making it difficult to get good sleep. That blue light inhibits our melatonin production. And our melatonin, I'm gonna have to do like a separate video on melatonin. Melatonin is very, very powerful. It's believed to be one of our most powerful antioxidants that we have that's actually protecting us from a lot of diseases, and we secrete this at night. So that's really, really important to really, be careful of the light exposure that's preventing that. Another reason you could be waking up major is your body temperature. Now, your room could get too hot. I know we're here in the northern hemisphere where we're still dealing with summertime. So your core body regulation temperature is really, really important. You should have the ability to have layers of sheets so you can throw some off or add some on as needed. Having a fan nearby, having your window cracked to get good airflow in and out. So this is another reason why it's possible that you're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning and you're not able to get back to sleep. Chronic pain. There is something called pain-induced insomnia, where depending on how you're sleeping or either other issues that have occurred that could be definitely contributing to that. I always encourage my patients definitely see the pain therapist, a pain specialist. There are actually pain specialist physicians that can actually help prescribe something to assist with nighttime pain. If you're open to more alternative things, looking at traditional Chinese medicine with various acupuncture, acupressure for pain. I love my clients to always have like a baseline chiropractor exam to make sure there's good spinal alignment so that there's no discomfort occurring there, also with the evening pain. Some of the other reasons you could be waking up at 2 to 3 in the morning are hormonal shifts. As women, we carry so many hormonal shifts from when we have our first cycle to even when we're ending and everywhere in between. So, from, PMS to the actual cycle itself, to perimenopause, to menopause, to everything in between, to even, pregnancy changes the sleep. So one of the things I always like to tell and encourage women who are upon menopause or perimenopause and it's coming up for them, a lot of those extreme symptoms that we see in those particular times of life are actually just a mirror showing us how we have been previously living. And I know that can be difficult because they've made a whole industry out of these really phases of life that we should go through with minimum discomfort, very minimum discomfort. They've made entire industries, multi-millions of dollars off of almost diseases that didn't exist 100 years ago. You didn't hear about these particular symptoms. Well, 100 years ago, people were eating healthier. There weren't a lot of seed oils. We were eating organic. We were eating natural. I can remember my great-grandmother hearing stories about what she put in her hair. It was like beef tallow. It was natural substances, not all of the chemicals we have right now. It's the insistent on drinking alcohol right before bed. A lot of those change of life, those extreme symptoms that we hear that are so horrible, again, it's just a mirror on how we've been living. That's the bad news. So it kind of shows if you're having extreme perimenopause. I can remember learning about perimenopause. I was in shock because I was in my 20s and I was like, so starting at 35, all hell was going to break loose for me. I was like, that's absurd. And I knew that the generation before me and the generation before me, before that one, they didn't experience that. So it made me really question, is this a real condition, or is this kind of more one of those like made up diseases? After doing more and more research, we see that this is just really a mirror of how we've been living. If we've been eating, nonstop junk foods, fast foods, tons of sodas, lots of alcohol, how we've been processing, dealing with relationships. That's really, really big. And when I see a lot of women having a lot of the fluctuations with the severe extreme fluctuations with the hormones, it could be a lot of that could be relationship based, and having usually the real flare-ups can occur during those times in our lives. So how we're dealing with stress, and that's the major mirror. Once again, I've said this multiple times on this channel, I can't get rid of stress, and most of the people come to me for stress-induced insomnia, but how we are managing stress, and how we're taking care of ourselves in the process. So you may see that you may have some hormonal shifts, whether it's hot flashes. We do have changes in progesterone, estrogen, even thyroid imbalances. A lot of this can be definitely a mirror of how we're living. That's the bad news. The good news is, since it's a mirror of how we're living, we can change what we see in the mirror. We can become better hydrated. We can eat healthier. We can get fresh air. We can do something about the stressors in our lives. Try and remove ourselves from the stressors as much as possible. When we can't, better manage them. And we're going to find that we're not going to be waking up as much in the middle of the night and unable to get back to sleep. Some other reasons why we're unable to do this, where we're, waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, is depression or other mental health issues. Definitely, this is a vicious cycle where a lot of mental health issues can lead to insomnia. Insomnia can lead to having mental health issues and just a vicious cycle that can't end. So definitely, taking these chances. A lot of our mental health things, once again, are a mirror on how we've been living, so that we can make some changes and some adjustments, working closely with a psychologist, psychiatrist, some of the social workers, and some of the different therapists. A lot of us were carrying so much on our shoulders, on our chest, getting that out and out. A lot of it through talk therapy and medications if needed as possible. Definitely look for that. Don't try and do a fix it, do it yourself if you suspect that you're really showing symptoms of having depression, panic disorder, anxiety. Definitely seek that help. Different medications, as a pharmacist, different medications can actually cause you to have some insomnia where you're waking up at 2 and 3 in the morning and you can't get back to sleep. So steroids are notorious for having every side effect in the book. There's times when steroids are needed, so I'm not knocking them, but definitely watch that if you are experiencing this. Diuretics, obviously, they don't have like a cutoff time. They will cause you to, get up and use the bathroom in the middle of the night. So taking those as early in the morning as possible so you have the rest of the day to eliminate that. Various antidepressants can cause this, even some beta blockers and some other hypertensive medications. So definitely, when you get your medications, read carefully and see that. In today's day, we have so much research that we can do on our own, that we can take our health into our own matter. So if you're taking some different meds, definitely research that to see if these are some of the reasons that are causing you to be up at 2 or 3 in the morning, unable to get back to sleep. So definitely look into that and see if there's some alternatives. Work with your primary care person to see if there's some alternatives to some of these medications. Some of the other reasons people aren't able to get back to sleep is indigestion, GERD. There's a big, really push right now for us all to have great gut health, to maximize our gut health with prebiotics, probiotics, eating healthy, getting good hydration. So that's super major, especially for good sleep, because a lot of people don't know this, but like over 90% of your melatonin is made in your gut, which is always fascinating to me. Growing up, even before I learned this, I just thought all your melatonin was made in the brain. A lot of it is made in the gut. So having healthy gut health is key to definitely getting a good night's sleep. Let's see, we're talking about, overhydration before bed. We talked about that already, where a lot of people, if they're drinking too much before bed, like I can already show you, this is my cup of water for, I do 3 of these per day, and I know I'm getting my water for the day. I have a little bit left that I'll drink about right now, and I'll go to bed in about an hour. So don't overhydrate yourself before bed. If your mouth feels a little dry, that's fine to get a little bit of liquid on your tongue, a little bit of a sip of water, but don't, fill a cup up to here before bed and start guzzling. Not only a cup of this, of course, no sodas, definitely, none of those, drinks. Even if you're doing a healthy melatonin smoothie, it shouldn't be that amount. It should be a really small amount of liquid so that you're not having to get up at 2 and 3 in the morning, having to use the bathroom and can't get back to sleep. And so those are our major things. We're going to go over that again. I see some new people join. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Definitely, we are going over amazing sleep hacks to help you to get the best absolute sleep that you can, so that you can wake up in the morning to take over your day. So we're definitely looking for that, and send out us some more likes so we can push this out to the algorithm. I'll see if you have any questions. Put any questions you may have in the chat box here. And then we'll go over questions too after I do the recap. So just a brief recap. It's actually normal for everybody to wake up anywhere from 2 to 6 times per night. most of the time we don't remember when we wake up that much. We really don't. And it's a part of our sleep cycle. So, we're entering, our 4 stages of sleep. We have our REM, which is our major stage where we're actually doing healing and rejuvenation. And so during these times of sleep is when we are actually getting, hold on, let me do this. Okay. I had to send something out. So this is when we're actually getting a lot of our repair, our rejuvenation, a lot of our healing that occurs is actually during that REM. We go in and out of these phases throughout the night, and they're lasting about anywhere from 90 to about 110 minutes. And when a phase is over, when the fourth phase is over, about to start another one, we will have a cycle of where we have a brief arousal period where we can be easily awakened. Researchers think that this was a protective mechanism that was built into us by Mother Nature to protect us from any, prey that's out here, environmental dangers, even to alert, mothers that the baby's crying. So this was actually a protective for humanity to actually have that ability where we're waking up throughout the night. The problem is when we're definitely having issues when we cannot stay asleep and get back to sleep. So waking up throughout the night is not the problem. The problem is when we're waking up and we have to get up at 6 a.m. and we wake up at 3 something and we can't get back to sleep. That is the nightmare, and that is the problem. So we talked about, what are some reasons for that? Stress-induced insomnia, sleep apnea, nocturnal urination, your blood sugars plummeting, alcohol consumption, caffeine residue, noise disturbances. If you're having light disturbances coming in, either internal or external light disturbances, chronic pain, we looked at definitely hormonal adjustments and fluctuations that happen, especially throughout a woman's life from PMS all the way through menopause and beyond. Definitely looking at that. Depression, various medications that can cause this, overhydration, and even sleep partner disturbances. So those are some of the reasons why you're waking up in the middle of the night. We've touched on some things that you can do. We're going to touch on a few more of these, and let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Okay, so some of the things you can do. That can help you. We went over the 4-7-8 breathing routine. So that's where you're taking a deep breath. You're taking 4 in, where you're inhaling for 4, holding it for 7, and exhaling for 8. This is very calming and soothing for the nervous system. And in general, doing a variety of different types of breath work, if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, can be very, very helpful to calm yourself down. Keep the lights minimum. Have a dim light already, lighting the way for you to use the bathroom if you need to do that, but you don't want a lot of fluorescent and LED lighting that's going to get in the way of your melatonin production. So definitely keeping that lighting for that. Avoid as much as possible looking at your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, even looking at a regular clock that you have, because you can actually develop, sleep anxiety, where you start making yourself anxious about what time it is. Try to avoid that, doing your breathing exercises to help yourself get back to sleep. We already talked about keeping the lights low. During progressive relaxation exercises. So you could do some gentle stretching. The progressive relaxation exercises will actually help you from head to toe, where you will tighten some of the muscles, release them. And as you do this and start relaxing more and more, you should be able to find yourself being able to get back to sleep. Using some music if needed. So if I know I have like certain songs that help me instantly really get back to sleep. I don't even listen to the whole song. I have certain classical songs and a few sleep hypnosis tracks that are soothing, calming, with gentle messaging to lead you back to a good night's sleep, so that you don't have to, put up with waking up at 2 a.m. when you really don't have to get up to 6 a.m. If you don't have to get up to 6 a.m., definitely being able to stay asleep at 2 a.m. is really, really important. And if you can't do that, you want to be able to have some things already to go for yourself, like the deep breathing exercises, keeping the lights low, having a track ready that you know that you can listen to that lulls you back to sleep, having a boring book. If you need to turn on a small lamp that's not bright and you just read a few passages, all of a sudden you know it's morning time. That's what you want in order to get back to sleep. Keeping your room comfortable, that temperature, because adjusting temperatures is another major way while your body is doing that. So anywhere from 60 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Some people like it even lower. They don't even want to go up to 70. They want to go 60 to 68. It will depend on where you live in the world, of course, the type of year it is. Like we're in summer right here in the Northern Hemisphere, so it's going to differ from person to person, and definitely what your current climate is doing. Keeping that coolness is so important to begin the onset of getting back to sleep. Some of the other things we wanted to look at is if you are finding that you're having issues getting back to sleep, I like to have also available to me is our Sleepwell RX Organic Lavender Sleep Spray. So sleep sprays are like the latest thing now. You can spray it, a couple of things in the air, just a little bit on your pillow, just shake it up, pillow in the middle of the night to help get back to sleep. This is not sleep in a bottle, so we don't promise this is like the permanent end to all insomnia issues. This is just a tool that uses aromatherapy using one of the time-tested ingredients, lavender, to help soothe and calm your nervous system to help you get back to sleep at nighttime. And so those are some of the major things. I'm trying to think some other things. If you're finding your brain is just running, always do that brain dump. I like to encourage that brain dump in the middle of the night. If you can't get back to sleep, dump it onto some paper. You will find, and dump it while you're laying down. Don't sit up and do it. Do it while you're laying down. Have your pen and paper ready. And you'll find that you'll maybe get one or two sentences out, and next thing you know, you're starting to doze off. And you'll wake up in the morning, you won't even be able to read the paper. It'll be illegible, which is a good thing. That means you went back to sleep, you scribbled something, and you passed out for the evening. So I'm gonna see if there's any questions. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. I said it is normal that we wake up. A lot of people think, oh no, I'm waking up at night. But no, that's actually a normal thing. That's a good question. It sure is. Yes. And what if you're hungry in the middle of the night? Yeah, that's one of the reasons that you could be waking up. We talked about that. You could be waking up because your blood sugars are low. And your body's pumping out some adrenaline and saying, listen, we got to wake up here. She's about to starve to death. We can't let this go on. So having a small snack, again, you don't want to have a big meal at 2:30 in the morning. You want to have a small snack. And I usually say, people say how small, how big, usually the size of your palm. So if you have a really big palm, you could take, a little bit bigger snack. If you have a small palm, you'll have a smaller snack. So that's a really good question. Yes. So, okay, great. So definitely, if you think of something else after this, definitely be sure to, put them in the comments section. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're looking to get the most amazing sleep to help you wake up in the morning to take over your world, command your day. Definitely be sure to subscribe here at Sleepwell RX. And we're going to continue our A to Z sleep hacks. I didn't forget about that. I wanted to talk about that other thing because that's a question that always comes up. So A to Z sleep hacks, we are on the letter Q tonight. So a lot of these will be starting to overlap as we head down the alphabet. We're definitely going to have this A to Z sleep hack done this month. If you missed the other parts of the alphabet, I think A through P, Definitely check here on the channel. We have a playlist, A to Z Sleep Hacks. So it's here on the playlist. So you can just choose that playlist and definitely grab a notebook, take some great notes so that you can find the hacks that work best for you. So one other thing is quiet. Having that peaceful and that quiet, it definitely helps to calm the nervous system. Even if you're going to be playing some music, it should be like that low background music. It shouldn't be anything really jarring and blaring and loud and screaming. It should be quiet, low background music, emphasizing silence in the bedroom. If you're a person that needs complete quiet, you can definitely try earplugs. They make them for various different situations. And there's even, some people are really fancy, they have like acoustic panels in their bedroom where they're just not hearing a lot of noise. So if you can definitely do that, that's also a major game changer for your sleep. We look down also at, for Q is quiet time journaling. If you're a person where your brain is just running, we talked about this just a few minutes ago, you can actually lay down and journal. I like to do this the best because I find that I can't read that writing in the morning, and that lets me know I got a good night's sleep. I got in 1 or 2 sentences when I kept writing. It's just gibberish, it's illegible, which is good. So quiet journaling is super, super helpful. Quiet breathing. We talked about doing the different breath work techniques, and we'll go ahead and exhibit it again. It's the 4-7-8 technique. You're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, and then exhale for 8. So we'll do that briefly on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I swear every time I do that, I'm ready to go to sleep. I'm gonna try and stay on here about 10 more minutes, and then it's gonna be my bedtime too. I'm gonna do my mag bath and then definitely pop in. Quiet alarm clocks. That's the next cue we're gonna talk about. Now, I know you think that's funny. How is alarm clock gonna wake me up if it's quiet? Where they make vibration alarm clocks that will vibrate a bit. They make some that will increase in their increments of their chirping. And they make some sunrise alarm clocks. This is important so that you are not overworking your adrenals. Being shocked awake and scared awake with this glaring sound is very, very hard on our heart in the morning, on our adrenal system. It's downright really a dangerous practice that a lot of us just think is normal and we gotten used to. Even if you're waking up people in the household, I try and wake up people gently. They know they get a gentle warning before it gets escalated. And so that's something you definitely want to work on. A lot of us get off, we talk about people getting out of bed on the wrong side of bed. That is a major part of the wrong side of bed, is these loud, blaring alarm clocks. So using a more quiet, gentle system is super, super helpful. Next, we're going to talk about is a quiet reading ritual. You should have something in the evening to read quietly if you're needing to help yourself go to sleep at night. And it shouldn't be on your tablet or your phone, right? It shouldn't be on that. It really, really needs to be something that you know is boring. I'm saying, I don't want anything boring. This is the time of day where you want something that is boring. So that's something that literally bores you to sleep. This is part of your bedtime routine. And we'll talk about next a quiet bedtime routine. This is something, and I like to call it a power down hour. Some people don't have a whole hour to power down, and that's fine. 15 to 20 minutes should be your starting point for this. And this is where you are going to have your warm shower. Use a little bit of your lavender or your favorite aromatherapy, whether you like passion flower, chamomile, vetiver, whatever your favorite calming aromatherapy is. And you're going to actually have just that quiet time. You're going to mimic the lighting that the sun is doing. So as the sun is setting, you're going to start setting those lights in your home as well. A lot of us have really just forgotten really how to sleep. Over 100 years ago, they didn't really have issues with insomnia because they were eating healthier. They weren't in a more toxic environment. They naturally knew what to do because we didn't have a lot of bombardment of the technology we have. So I'm thankful for the technology. You guys are able to watch me. I'm able to share today because of the technology. So I don't want to totally say technology is bad. We're thankful for it, but it does cause us to have insomnia and issues with staying asleep and getting to sleep. So that's something we definitely want to focus on a regular basis, really prioritizing and teaching ourselves again from scratch how to get great sleep. Next, a part of that bedtime routine for the letter Q is a quick attitude of gratitude. I'm one of these people where I don't like a bedtime routine to take up like my whole evening. I think that's crazy when I have things to do. Or I just want to maybe relax and have some fun and not necessarily even focus on the sleep. Don't fall for all these videos that are telling you, taking a 2-hour morning routine and a 2-hour bedtime routine. It's ridiculous. How are you going to be living your life if you're focusing on these multi-hour routines? I tell people start with that 15 to 20 minute routine. That's definitely a game changer. And finally, a quick gratitude practice. So that's in your journal. If you can write like 3 things that you're grateful for this day, that would be a game changer. It will help calm you down, give you some of that hope for the day ahead coming, and definitely soothe any anxiety or panic that you're feeling. So great. So we'll definitely do a quick recap. We talked about quietude. We're on A to Z sleep hacks. I'm Dr. Robin, your sleep health coach and clinical pharmacist. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you are looking for the most amazing sleep tips and ways to get the best sleep so that you can wake up in the morning to take over your day. So we're talking about Q today. So we talked about quietude and what that means. Having quiet alarm clocks even so that you're not jarring yourself away and, really upsetting your blood pressure, your heart, your adrenal system. So we looked at a lot of that tonight. We also talked about how waking up in the middle of the night is actually normal. A lot of people are shocked to hear this. And some people come to me I think I have a problem. I wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. My big question to them is how long does it take you to get back to sleep? Some people say, oh, I don't know. Next thing I know, it's like 6 or 7 in the morning. That's good. Then you don't have a problem. If you don't even remember waking up or you don't even remember how long it took you to get back to sleep, the problem comes when you are wide awake and wired and cannot get back to sleep at 2 and 3 in the morning. So we went over a bunch of ways for you to really help yourself and to set yourself up for success, to definitely get that good night's sleep and that full night's sleep. Which is really funny because we don't sleep. The recommendation for women is to sleep, 8 to 10 hours. Men can get a little less, 6 to 8. But none of us sleep that whole time straight. So it's okay if you wake up, but if you stay awake, that is where the issue lies in. So I'm thinking, let's see if there's any questions on here. No, I don't have any snoring that I know of. No, that's a good question. If you or a person is having snoring, that's a great question. I always tell them to look into having a sleep apnea test done to make sure that this snoring isn't because you're having oxygen deficiency during the nighttime, because that could be a major issue. So that's a great question. Really good question. Any other questions here? I don't want to get a sleep apnea test. Yeah, getting medical tests done is not my favorite thing either. They do have it now where you can get them done at your house, and they can feed back information to your prescriber who prescribed that for you. So that's something to look into. But yeah, I don't know anyone that looks forward to medical testing, but sometimes it's a necessity, sometimes that we have to have. So yeah. Trying to see any other questions on here. Okay, looks good, good. So thank you all for having me this evening. Tomorrow we're going to continue our A to Z sleep hacks. Be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you can be alerted to where we're going to go live and talk more on A to Z sleep hacks. We just finished the letter Q tonight, and we went over a lot of great information on why you keep waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. So definitely leave some comments in the comment section if you have any questions for me. Definitely, we're getting closer and closer to our launch date of actually having this ready for the public to sell. So I'm really excited for our sleep health spray. So definitely get ready for that in September, next couple of weeks coming up here. I can't believe we're already halfway through August, so that was fast. So take care, everyone. Thank you for a great evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.